All right, welcome to the next part of our video, where we're going to be talking about creating a portfolio page template. Basically, on our HTML theme, we have these individual portfolio items, which each have the same basic content. They have a big picture, a project name, project description, and then a URL. And each of them has the same thing. They're actually all dummy content right now, but so we want to create a page that outputs that specific information, and it doesn't make any sense for the user to have to go in and format that with div classes every single time.
Right.
So the way to avoid that is to create a custom page template for it, and then also to use custom fields. So we want to use the two of these together. One of the other cool things that we can do, and there are different ways to handle this, but we can actually add a section here. We have posts and we have pages. We can actually add another section here, another post type called portfolio. So instead of having to look through post and make a custom post on their own every time and give it a certain category or do whatever complex thing they might have to do, we'll just create a new one called portfolio where they can say add new portfolio. And the way we'll do that is with a plugin that's very, very commonly used in the industry called custom post types. So let's look up custom post types in the WordPress plugins. And this is it right here. It's actually called custom post type UI, or user interface. Let's install and activate this plugin. And right away, let's go in and create a new one called portfolio. So the post type will be called portfolio, no capital letters. The label, portfolio, and the singular will be portfolio item. We don't have to put a description in for now. These are all pretty, relatively self-explanatory. It just kind of takes a little bit of use to get used to them, or you can just hover over the little question mark and it'll tell you what each one of these is for. But they're fairly self-explanatory. So let's
basically just wanting us to name it.
Yeah, just give us the name for one, this right here, the portfolio, and then two, the individual portfolio items, which we'll add to here. So if we add portfolio item right now, and obviously, it created this new post type right here along the side of our sidebar. If we add a new portfolio item, this looks just like the same fields we would use to add a poster page. So in the same way that we would use custom fields to change the way a user could interact with a poster page, we can do that with this too. And right here we have a pretty straightforward layout of what we're going to be creating. So this is for each individual one we're creating first, and then we'll create the portfolio listing page in a separate video. So let's add some custom fields for this. Let's make this image be part of the custom field, the project name, description, and link. So go in your custom fields and create a new field group, and you can just call this portfolio. Doesn't really matter the name of it. And the first thing we want is what would it be in there? Well, the portfolio image. Okay, and that's going to be an image type. And remember to click this as an image URL. That's the way we'll be outputting it. And then we'll add one more field called project description, which should be a text area since it's taking up a big chunk of text right there.
And the last thing we use, what, the URL?
Yeah, exactly. We'll just call that URL. Maybe I'll capitalize it. And that'll be a text input. So you notice we're not putting in the project name here. We'll just use the title that the user puts in for that.
Now, if we just use the text input here for the URL, is that going to let us put in our HTML or it's a link, right?
Right. So
is that going to let us put the link tags in there to make that a link, or how's that going to work?
We can do that on the actual page template.
Oh,
so we'll put on the page template, it'll say href quotation marks.
You don't want the user to have to do it.
Exactly, and then they'll just put in http:/x.
Got it.
Whatever it is. So we could publish that, but actually, let's make sure it's going to post to the right type, just to these portfolio pages. So show this field group if post type is equal to portfolio. Makes it pretty easy. And order number 0, that's at the top. I'm going to put it high, add a meta box, hide everything else. I'll again show revisions and a permalink, but that should be good right there. So now we've added this to the portfolio page, so it should look a little different if we go into add a portfolio item. And it does. There's a portfolio image, project description, and a URL. So let's just set one up real quick. Let's add this B project. And we'll give it a title of, what do we have a title? B project.
B project, ironically.
Yeah, the B project. I'll copy this content of the project description, and we'll call this someurl.com.
I already used Google, but we'll take some URL.
Yes. So let's publish it real quick. And let's take a look now and see what happens when we actually view the portfolio item.
Uh-oh.
Right. So what it's going to do automatically is it's going to pull from the index.php because we haven't assigned it a specific page template to use. We have to create a specific page template for this item directly. So let's create that real quick. And let's look up how we would do that. We know how to create a custom page template, but there's a special way you would do it for a custom post type that WordPress will identify. So let's look up page template, custom post type.
So much of working in WordPress is knowing the right questions to ask. And I always say that a bunch, but if you know the right question to ask, you know how to type in the right thing, the answers will come to you. Like, I know you guys out there watching it wouldn't be like, let's do custom, page template, custom post type. Like, that is something to watch and to learn and to pay attention to simple things like that. What did they Google search to find that? Well, this is what this thing is called, and if you don't know it, then when you try and get back to finding it, it's going to be hard for you to do. So you have to start to pay attention to what things are called. And as you learn what they're called, they're really easy to Google search or find on the back end.
Yeah, the language is very important in WordPress, the terminology that we use. And it's that way in anything, with any type of web development or any field you're in, that the language is extremely important. So they basically, they're giving you right here the template files. So it's archive / a certain post type or single / a certain post type. And this could be filled in with a custom post type name. So actually you could say single - post, and a single post type would revert to whatever that template file was set up to be. In our case, we have a single portfolio item. So if we call that single portfolio, WordPress is automatically going to identify it as a portfolio page template. So let's create a new file called single portfolio.php, and let's just add a header and footer and some content so we see if this works.
You should add some content.
That's exactly what I did, yes. So reloading this page now, it does load that just based on WordPress's naming conventions that it looks for. We're going to go into quite some depth about the WordPress template hierarchy and understanding that because it's very important. Mm-hmm. So for now, I'm just showing you a little bit of practical experience of what does work, and then we'll explain more in depth why it works and why it works this way. So let's build out this page template to look just like our portfolio page template. Let's grab this entry content area, which is going to go inside the loop, and we'll put that inside here. Now we need to start the WordPress loop to be able to pull from the page, right?
Right.
Actually, I'll just copy this. I'll probably mess it up if I try to remember the name of it exactly. The loop. And you can grab this, the WordPress loop. You can grab this from other code within the theme somewhere because it's all over our theme at this point. Loop starts here. We'll put that at the top. We'll end the loop at the bottom by this ends the loop code. Comment it out. Okay, so now we're able to pull dynamic content. This structure is the basic structure of the page, so it's going to be pretty close, but we want to change these out for our custom page template or our custom fields that we have set up. So instead of this direct link to the image, let's change this to the field that we have set up, which is called portfolio image. And we can always check that from our, yeah, that's published. You can go to custom fields, and we've done this just recently, but just to show you again, you can see the field name right here, portfolio image is what I have it named. And please feel free to name things a little differently and set things up a little differently on your own, just because you're going to be having to troubleshoot it. So if you try to copy everything I do exactly, and something changes or you aren't familiar with the code from your own perspective, it'll make it a little more difficult in the long run. So we have project name, which is set up here, and then here's the actual project name, and that's just going to be what?
The title.
The page title, yeah.
Right, so if we named our page, or our post type here, portfolio type, we named this one B project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then B project is what's going to pull when we put the title, which is exactly what we want.
Right, and then this will be the portfolio or the project description,
right,
which I think is what we've called it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the field because it's, again, if this isn't clear, this is part of the standard WordPress loop. The title and the content are, but this one's a custom field, which is called portfolio or project description. And then the last field we have is this link right here, and it's going to be both the link, which is it's just called URL. It'll be the actual link, and then it'll also reflect the name that's output here.
Right, that way if we click on it, it'll also bring us where it's supposed to bring us.
Right, so let's save that real quick and take a look at the page and see what we've got. Should be pretty close.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
90%. So it says B project here, has the project name, project description. That's what we have. That's all dynamic and all looks great. The only thing that isn't right is we don't have the top subheader area, this element right here. So let's add this top element. And actually, this is called portfolio on every page. You feel more than free to change this to something different. You can change it to the title instead.
Now, even here, do we have to have this inside the loop since it's going to be...
Technically, we don't. Since it's only grabbing the content from this page, it's not going to hurt anything to do that. If we update that, that should look correct and exactly reflect this page back here. So that's pretty much it for the single portfolio page. Now let's get on to the next section, which we're going to combine all these individual portfolio items. We'll add these all in first, add a bunch of the portfolio items in, and then we'll make a portfolio listing page with all of these. And let's get to that next.